Howdy, Ags. Welcome in to the Aggie Audible podcast. I am your host, Lee Hillis. Let's bring in our co-host, Texas A&M class of 2022, Kyle Lovinggood. Kyle, how are you?
I am doing great, and football's back. Fall camp started, so I couldn't be doing better, really.
But, and I want to know your opinion on this. Are there high expectations for the Aggies in 2025?
It depends on what you mean by high expectations. If you mean progress, yes. I mean, there's definitely expected to be progress. Now, if you mean we got to reach playoffs, it's kind of on the fence. That's kind of where I fall.
Well, the expectations, in my opinion, go right along with what's right here. I think 9-3 is not out of reach for the Aggies.
9-3 is what the bar I've set. That's kind of where I think they're going to reach because they're still kind of coming up to speed on what Elko wants to do and all that, and if they win all their home games, they're really going to have a chance to exceed 9-3. But if they trip on a home game or two, that's where I think because their road slate it's just tough this year.
So I'm gonna go big screen on this and just run through this real quick. I put this into Chat GPT just asking, hey, how does Texas A&M show this season? Well, they have us going and being UTSA the season opener, beating Utah State second game of the year, but going to South Bend and losing to Notre Dame. Bye week, then coming home beating Auburn, beating Mississippi State, beating Florida, going to Fayetteville and losing to the Arkansas Razorhawks, going into Death Valley and getting a big win.
No, I was just gonna say on Arkansas that's like the loss there would be such a dagger. It's like you're expected to beat Arkansas. So I mean, I'm just like,
yeah. Well,
but I can definitely see a loss there. That's why it's not surprising. But it feels like Aggies have gotten so accustomed to winning that game that a loss, even in Fayetteville, would just hurt their morale. Put a kind of a gloomy outlook on the season, kind of right there.
Well, A&M always plays Arkansas good. We always play LSU good.
The last 5 years, I would agree with you.
On
LSU.
To start November, the Aggies go to Missouri to get a win.
I really see that as that's possible. They dominated Missouri a couple of years ago.
Last year.
And they just absolutely whooped them last year. Granted, that was not Marcel Reed as a QB, so it'll be a little bit different. But I mean, I think A&M will have a good chance there. Now, South Carolina, that game scares me, even though it's at home.
Yeah, like if you can look at last year and that game, that the fifth game of the year for A&M at home against Auburn. Auburn and South Carolina scared on this schedule. And the reason why we went there, we had a very good chance to win both games, and we fell flat. And Marcel was the starter in both games.
That's very true.
And
that Florida game, to me, that's a very pivotal game.
Well, if you go back and look at last year, that was Marcel's first start. Aggies go out and win 33-20.
I mean, that was such a good way to start his career, wasn't it? I mean, he just came out, he threw some nice balls downfield, and then the run game was there. It was just we got to see the full picture there, and they were they were there lifting Marcel Reed up.
Yeah.
Just because it was his first start, and everybody was on high alert, and they came in and they won that game. That was such a pivotal win for last year. Yep.
And then the last home game of the year, we play Samford at home. That's in my opinion, that's a cupcake game for the Aggies.
It shouldn't even be close. It should be 4 touchdowns lead going into the fourth quarter, third string in there. Yeah. Samford shouldn't even be.
And then Black Friday, the matchup that the Aggies should have won last year.
They had the possibility to win last year. They just didn't bring their A games. There was the defense came to play. The defense failed Marcel Reed like 3 weeks in a row, and then we had the Texas game, and the defense came in and they played their butts off, especially toward the end of the game. They got a pick six and a turnover right at the end for the Texas game. Yeah, that was. But if we'd had any kind of offense or finished any of those drives at the beginning of the game, it would have just been a completely different ball game.
Oh, 100%. So I think, based on these games, I think A&M, if they start off that 2-0, that Notre Dame game is their first true road test of the year. That's when you really find out, okay, what is this A&M team made of?
Notre Dame game's going to be pivotal, and that Florida game's going to be pivotal. Those are the two. If they can win the Notre Dame game, that just builds that confidence, and then that Florida game, that's going to be like that's that pivot in the middle of the SEC conference slate that'll give them the confidence. So those are my two important games for this season. Yeah.
And I want to throw an honorable mention on that. If a trip to Atlanta is up for grabs, that Texas game.
They would have to win that Texas game. I agree.
Because as of right now, Texas has bragging rights.
After 10 years, we lost to them with a field goal in 2011.
Yeah.
And then, I mean,
they come in here and beat the brakes off of us last year, basically.
Pretty much. But the stats agree with that. Yes. The
score doesn't. The score was a whole lot closer than what the stats showed.
But I would tell you, we were so excited for that Texas game last year. I was looking for 10 years for it. And then we come to that game, and even from the Texas side, they both, talking to them, they even agree. It was just such a boring game. Like the excitement wasn't in the game. The crowd wasn't quite into it. It was just, it was such a letdown for, to be the Lone Star Showdown. I was just like, oh my gosh, how did we end up
there?
There
was what, like 109,000 people there?
I mean, it was more people than the stadium could hold. Technically, there was standing room only. I mean, each corner of the arena was people standing. Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah. Storylines for this season: Mike Elko's second season as the head man in Aggieland. So last year, A&M went 8-5, but so a 9-win campaign would signal an upward trajectory for Texas A&M.
I 100% agree. I feel like 9-win keeps everybody happy. It may not be what everybody wants, but 9 wins keeps that, like you said, we're going up. And yeah, I agree.
And the big away games, performances at Arkansas, LSU, Texas, and Notre Dame will define a national standing for Texas A&M.
The away games are so important because they're all big games. Like they're all big teams. They're going to be hard to win because of the caliber of play that's going to be needed to win those games. That's why the home games then become so important. And I feel like if A&M can win all their home games and take in the 12th man and take all of that in and make those wins for home, that's what makes these away games that much more important.
But if A&M does go 9-3, we could expect a major bowl invite facing a possible top 15 opponent.
I mean, A&M would still sort of be on the
Bubble.
On the playoff discussion at 9-3, depending on which 9-3 they win.
Yeah, especially if they make the trip to Atlanta and win, you're in. If you go win your conference.
Yep. What it was just so disappointing last year when we had 4 chances to make it to the conference championship game in the SEC, and it was just
we lost all of them.
We lost all of them, 4 in a row. It was just like, how Texas 8-4? How can we just make sure we don't reach that first year like super excitement? Like 8-4. Don't get me wrong, most coaches don't go 8-4 in their first season, so I'm not down on that, but yeah, like you said, we need to see the improvement. We need to see the trajectory keep moving up. We need to win 9 games, and it's going to be a tough 9 games because of those road games are just not going to be easy.
So let's go to some of these bold predictions or these hot takes from Twitter earlier.
Yes, sir. I like that.
So let's someone, Mark D-Skin, said typical 8-4 season.
And you know what I said?
Texas 8-4.
That's the joke right now, and that's what we got. That's what we got to cure this season.
Seabass says if Texas A&M beats Notre Dame, they'll be in contention for the playoff.
Yep.
Soulless Silencer. We go 10-2 and make the playoffs. That's bold.
I mean, I still think that's. I think
that's
doable.
Not too far fetched, especially if you go into Austin and beat Texas.
I mean, yeah, a win there would be put you right in the 10-2 discussion. I mean,
yeah,
Austin, Texas is going to be like in the top 5 all season long, I believe. I mean, they're going to be
especially with Arch Manning, especially with Arch Manning at the helm.
Yeah, okay. I need to see it for Arch Manning. Everybody talks, Arch Manning's going to be the next, best thing we ever see, play college football, I just got to see it. I'm not saying he's not. He has all the tools. He has all the,
the
pedigree, the physical skill set, everything you want to see. I mean, he's got it, but I just need to see it. I mean, I haven't seen enough. And that's the same thing people are going to say about Marcel Reed, even though Marcel Reed has put a lot more on tape.
Well, there's a lot of discussion that Marcel Reed is not a passer. We've seen it on tape. The dude can throw it 20, 30, 40 yards downfield.
Yeah, I think what we were seeing last year, this is my opinion on Marcel Reed. I think the reason why we didn't just see him come out and just light it up downfield. He's got the arm, he's got the power, he can sling it. I just think it was that offense, and he was new to it, and they were trying not to overwhelm him, and they were trying to let the run game take the lead. And then that bit us in the butt when Moss got hurt. And then when Le'Veon Moss got hurt, that was just that's when you would want your QB to take over, and he just didn't have. I mean, he didn't have the Johnny Manziel in him to win the game and will everybody to a win. When the defense didn't back it up, that's he would go score, and then the defense didn't back it up, and that's what killed him last year.
Yeah. Elko for Big Prez says 11-1. Drop LSU in Death Valley, then face LSU in the SEC championship for a revenge game and get it done. Make it to the college football playoffs. Drop the first round game. Moss is a Heisman contender.
I mean, if A&M is in the playoffs, Moss is a Heisman discussion. I mean, Marcel Reed's going to be in a Heisman discussion too.
I was going to say that if A&M's in that contention, or even just in the playoff picture, A&M, something happened for A&M in a good way.
The offense clicked.
Offense and defense.
Yep. I agree. The defensive line came together because, I mean, they're going to have to get to the quarterback. And that's one of my bold takes this year is that we have more sacks than we had last year. We had 25 last year. And
which is disappointing for having a defensive head coach.
Well, and it was disappointing because it seemed like our defense, especially the three that got drafted, they came in and they played their tails off the first half of the season, and it just seemed like they got to that draft stock and then they pulled back. Yep.
You're like, what is this?
We had players on the bench coming in and doing better. That's how. Yeah. That was the drop off we saw at the back end of the season. So he has to be better. I mean, he's had a whole lot of season. So
I do have to give one quick shout out to the punter Tyler White.
Yep.
Because he was actually the first follow on Instagram.
That's cool.
The biggest thing that I wanted to focus on was his offense. But 5 things to watch for the Aggies in 2025. We agree right here at number 5, Bryce Anderson.
I 100% agree.
The reason why I went Bryce Anderson is because he could be the focal point for that secondary that has Des Ricks, Dalton Brooks, Bryce Anderson, Will Lee, and Jordan Shaw. In that starting lineup, they're like you have Julian Humphrey, Marcus Radcliffe, Miles Davis, Javon Thomas, Tyreek Chappelle. That's one guy I want to ask about. Tyreek Chappelle last year was basically invisible.
He was invisible, but he just needs to show up in big time games. That's
and this is his senior year.
So is Bryce Anderson. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, the reason I put number 5, Bryce Anderson, number 5 on my list is he showed he has what it takes. You've seen the flashes. You've seen the interceptions. You've seen him come up and make those explosive tackles.
Yeah.
Especially at the line of scrimmage, get into the backfield and disrupt the quarterback. But he's just been injured, or he's just been outplayed a little bit here and there, and sometimes he just gets kind of overshadowed. I mean, this is his year to come out and make a statement. That's why he's one of my top players to watch, because that's going to be very important for Texas A&M if they want to make this next step. If they want to go win 9 games, win 10 games, he's going to be one of those pivotal players that we're going to be leaning on to do that.
But at number 4, I couldn't just pick one. I had to go 2. I went Le'Veon Moss and Ruben Owens, both coming off injury. What are those 2 players going to look like? Because if you can get both of them back to form, you'll have no problem running the ball if you're Texas A&M.
Absolutely not. And Moss and Owens is going to be the 1-2 punch. Moss is going to be you hand the ball off, he's gonna pound it. He even has that speed.
Yeah.
Owens has that quick cut.
Yeah. The
Make it up
elusiveness.
Yeah, and the 1-2 and boom, he's down the field and you're chasing him. Owens is going to be he's going to be one of those that's going to do the wheel route
The dirty
out to the side, and he's going to be upfield. There, he's going to catch those balls in traffic. I feel like that's what Owens is going to be good at.
What was number 4 for you?
Number 4 for me was Des Ricks, because
yeah.
And my list was, the reason I did my top 5 is these are players I need to see come on. Yeah, and just if these players show up, Texas A&M is meeting or exceeding that 9-win expectations, in my opinion. And Des Ricks, he was good last year. He showed flashes. He was a lockdown at times, but there were times, especially like in the bowl game against
USC.
That's right. I was about to say Iowa State. USC. He just kind of faded right when we needed him the most. And if Des Ricks, and I feel like Des Ricks he played injured. That's another thing. Did you know that he played injured the majority of the season?
I did not know he did, but I know Scooby did.
Scooby did too. Scooby had, what was it? He hurt his knee. Whereas Des Ricks, I think it was shoulder. I think he had a shoulder injury. So anyhow,
number 3, I had to go Torian York, second-year captain. He's a big part of that linebacker core.
Lombardi Award watch list. Yep.
Exactly. So, number 3 for you?
You want my number 3?
What was your number 3?
My number 3 is Deion Hayes.
It was a transfer from Colorado.
Right, and which he barely played at Colorado, but before that, he has some great highlights at Pitt, I believe, and he has that get up and go, and he can burn you around the end. He still has that strength to stand you up on the run. I think if Deion Hayes can come in, and I don't know if we talked about the defensive starting lineup yet, but or if we're gonna mention that, but he didn't make the top. But if he's in the rotation and he's constantly getting pressure and he's making those splash plays, even off the bench, he's going to be a heck of a player. I think he's going to be very important.
I went to York's counterpart, Scooby Williams.
Scooby's probably one of my favorite players. Have you heard him talk yet?
He's got
that low, grumbly voice.
Yes,
but he's so like cool. Like you want to give him a hug. Like he's nice.
Number 2, who'd you have?
I have TJ Searcy, the transfer from Florida. From Florida, yeah. He's another one. He's kind of in that Deion Hayes, but he supposedly, according to the defensive lineup, he's supposed to be the starting defensive end, and he had several plays in Florida where he just can't overpowered the person in front of him and sacked the quarterback. And if he's in the Tommy Moffitt system and he's growing, he's getting that strength and conditioning. Oh, why not? I mean, I feel like he could come on and just surprise people. That's why I think he's going to be important to, and that's why he's in my top 5 to watch.
And number 1, I had to go Marcel Reed, because as we were talking about, what kind of player are you going to get this year with Marcel? Are you going to get that player he was last year, or are you going to get a better form of that?
I am just excited to see what Marcel Reed's going to do. I mean, did you know he can pass the ball?
Yeah, he can. That's
He can,
that's why KC came here.
right. He had a good practice. He slung it around. Casey Concepcion said, "I want some of that,"
I want some
and
of that.
yeah, that's why. And I think Marcel Reed's gonna, I think he's gonna surpass, a lot of our
Expectations.
my 5 through 2 were defense. So my last one, I'm going offense, and I'm not going Marcel Reed. I'm going Terry Bussey.
Ooh,
I
okay.
I this is my argument for why I put Terry Bussey number one. We know Mario Craver, he's going to be that speed down the field. We know that Casey
KC is going.
Concepcion, he's going to be inside getting the cuts, through the traffic. He's going to break it open. We kind of know what we're going to get in those two. Terry Bussey, he's kind of the wild card. If Terry Bussey can take that step this year as a wide receiver, I really expect him. I really expect the wide receiver core and the offense as a whole to just come exploding on to
Take
the
a
scene.
step forward. Aggies, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Thanks, and gig 'em.